have one, then your pool of people just shrinks immediately. It's like, and you go like, okay, I'm not going to bother.
But then it's interesting because
I'd like to hear from you because you are in a relationship, and how long has this relationship been?
okay, my relationship is technically 6 years. We're
Wow,
coming up to
okay,
6 years, yeah. So
okay.
that's but the dating actual game now, I really don't know per se myself because I've not done it. When I was single, I would always have like an indication whether I like that person or not. So and before if I wanted to spend any more time with them. But I was also, when I went through my divorce, I remember people would say to me, oh, Lena, you'll be just snapped up in no time, you're, and they'd rattle off all, the lots of different positive things, which was really nice to hear. And I thought, well, no one's snapping me. But then I'd never put myself in a situation where, I don't know, some people just don't have a problem just putting themselves out there. And look,
Yeah,
that's fine. I just couldn't do that. And I
yeah,
was born for traditional because back then we didn't have the social media.
yeah,
Whereas now there's a lot of social media and a lot of people I find are reliant on that because it's the only way that they can meet someone.
yeah.
And I actually had a call from a client, it was last week, and it was a male client, and he's going through a divorce, but it's been over with their relationship for quite some time. And he was interstate, and he said to me, Lena, I'm actually just letting you know, I need your help. And I went, okay. And he said, I'm going on a speed dating thing.
Wow.
I've got no idea what to wear. Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah, it
So
happens, right? So is this man in midlife?
yes,
Huh?
definitely. So he's about 57, 58 now, I think,
Mm,
and he's very intelligent, like super switched on, but very shy.
mm,
So he could come across someone, I suppose he could be interpreted as someone like really deep, but he's like a scientist. So
mm,
he's very in depth, but someone who is on the same page as him would just like, oh my God, this man is incredibly knowledgeable.
mm.
But it was also really good for him just to get out and just start to see, you know, just mix with people, just socially,
Yeah,
around the same age and have that excitement again.
yeah,
There's actually, this is not the end of the road.
yeah.
Yeah, so I must call him because it was on, what's today? It was 2 days ago.
Ah, okay.
So I must message him to find out how he went. But and I said, well, at least you won't get stuck in a conversation with anybody that you don't like.
I hope this event that he went to, they group people according to age because it'll be really awkward if you went
Yes.
dating and then you have like a 20-year-old.
No, he actually said it was, and that's what he was excited about because I think it was from about 45 to 70 or 50 to 70. It was somewhere about that age group.
Okay,
So,
okay.
yeah, which, it really helps because you don't want to waste your time,
Yeah,
with that.
yeah,
So,
that's
but
true.
yeah, that's, I know with my clients that have been, mainly women, they don't have any trouble going on dating sites and
Yeah,
anything like that. They to them it's the only time that they can spend.
yeah.
Well, I do hear other stories, I mean we've all heard them too. Oh God, they were nothing like their picture.
That's usually the case.
Yeah. And so I have to adapt my head, around their environment now because that's not something I've been exposed to before.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's always
How did you meet your partner?
well, I had known him before, in the past, obviously not knowing that we're going to link up later on. So, yeah, that's a bit of a story in itself. But yeah, and there's an age difference between us as well. So, had I probably not known him, I probably would have been a bit scared, with that. But I had to really listen to my heart and not my head. And my
Mm,
heart would be the answer. Yeah,
okay.
because I probably, yeah, because there's 17 years difference between us. So, that
Seven,
is
7 years, did you say?
1 7,
17 years.
17.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's um you know, physically, like it's, you know, exactly the same. It's just a number on the page,
Yeah.
you know, for me. But had I not known him before, it might have been different because, you know, there was a lot of fear and things like that there. So because I'd had known him and, you know, and I knew him quite well in that way, not thinking that I would be in this situation, I was allowed to open my heart more.
Yeah.
And I had to really decide, is it my heart or my head that's speaking?
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
when you come from the heart, you know, it always gives you the answer. So, and sometimes you just have to take the leap of faith.
Okay. So he
Yeah.
is 17 years older than you. Okay.
Yeah.
I was dating someone 17 years younger than me.
Oh, nice one.
But you know, I mean, it lasted, I think, maybe 2 years.
Yeah.
The thing is, I mean, when you're 17, the age gap, right? I mean, you're at different phases of life. But for me, I wasn't looking for like a deep commitment. I'm asking you about dating because I think people in midlife would be interested in dating. I personally am not. I feel at this point in my life, I'm happy where I am. I have so many things that I want to do. Yeah. So I'm just, you know, curious to see, you know, from your perspective. And I know there are many women in their midlife, they would want to they want to date, right? They want to meet other people. Some of my friends around me are also in midlife. They are also not interested to date because, you know, why would they say things like, why would I want to disrupt my life? You know, I'm happy where I am. I can do whatever I want. I have a sense of freedom, and if I have someone that I, you know, committed to, then I feel that it is, you know, they feel like, you know, at midlife, this is their time to do whatever they want, right? And to have the freedom to do that. So it's a different perspective, right? So I know some women don't want to be in a relationship. And then there are others who just see their partner just once a week. They don't even want to live together because they go like, no, that's just too much trouble. I'll just see you once a week, you know, and then, you know, we'll have a date and then we'll spend the night or whatever. But then the rest of the time is mine. So there are different kind of needs and wants, I guess, right? For people in the midlife.
Definitely. I think it depends on your environment, you know, as well, and your situation, and for, you know, lots of different reasons. And I actually had someone say to me recently, you know, what would happen if something ever happened like to your partner? I mean, and you be by yourself, would you ever date again? And I said, yeah, probably. Oh, really? And I went, well, I'm not dead. And they were just really kind of surprised because they're really happy in life where they're at, you know. And I went, well, yeah, like it would be, because I like the sharing of things.
Sorry.
You know, I know my mum had no interest in seeing anybody else when she was, you know, at a certain age. Well, she said to me, I just give up. I like do my own thing, you know, when I want. Well, I think it just depends on the person, whereas, you know, I like to engage with somebody else and share different experiences. And I'm such a people person as well. And I think I would feel lonely. You know, there's difference between alone and lonely.
Yeah.
So it would be, just to share those really nice times in life with someone. And whereas, you know, everyone is really different. So some people might have already had that all the time and might not have never had their own space, or, you know, they've come to the point where, you know, it's actually, well, this person that said that to me just the other day was always sort of, you know, committed to looking after somebody else. So for them now to have their freedom, it's like, wow. So she's judging on her situation, you know, to me because of her own experience. And I know that's normal. But there's I've spoken to quite a few women actually, now that we're talking about it, with different, you know, they've gone out on dates. And there's one lady who I know that she's about 57, 57, 58. She's been married. She's done all that before. And she would just like a nice gentleman. And she goes on all these dating sites and she seems to find the duds. Well, they're the ones that we hear about anyway. So I'm sure there's plenty of other people that are not always duds. And they're like some man that either wants to control her, or there's some man that wants to just buy her and own her. And I just thought, really, is it like that? And, and she said, Lena, if they're saying the things like this to me now, what are they going to say when they're, later on? And I said, well, it's better to know now than later. And so they want to take her to dinner, they want to dine her, and it doesn't go further than that. But they constantly just keep calling her, and she might not like them, but or feel that it's going to go anywhere, or they're a bit sort of not her type. But it's amazing how many dates that she goes on.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. And some people, I remember, it was a couple of years ago. There's an app called Plenty of Fish, right? And I said, "What's that?" I had no idea what it was. It was some, dating app, and it was just a random person that we were just talking things about. Because I have about 3 or 4 dates a week, with different people. And I went, well, how do you? Whereas to me, I would like to just meet someone, not constantly go out dating, and and each their own. So everyone's different.
Yeah, but where do they find the time? Is my question.
Well, obviously it's just a hard time. I don't know. I have no idea.
3 or 4 dates a week, like
3 or 4 dates a week, just with different people. And because I've said, well, how do you remember their names? And it might just be dates. We didn't talk about anything else. It was just meeting dates and whatnot. And they just said they really enjoyed meeting people.
Okay, well, fair enough.
So, I do know that there's lots of other different ways, like, I'm sure, where you are, it would be exactly the same. There's lots of activities that open up. In this situation, it would be hikes, and it will be, generated, say, for single people from, certain ages, to give people the chance to meet someone. I think it's just like-minded people and just help narrow things down.
Yeah.
And, obviously you're in the same interest, that's going to help. I just wouldn't cope well with someone who would just be, just inside and not moving or exercising.
Yeah, that would be totally off. I find that, what you say about same mindset, I find that quite difficult. I haven't, even with my friends, right? People that I meet from all walks of life, whether they're business owners or they're not, or they're working, I don't have the same mindset with anyone. So that is a challenge. And for me, right, I mean, if I were to meet someone with the same mindset or same interest, it feels okay. I mean, this could be just my imagination. It feels like an impossible task. And maybe that's also the reason why I don't even bother. Okay, yeah, because I know that if I were to go on I'm not on any dating apps, but if I do, it'll be like, I'm not going to be able to connect with people. And
until you connect with the right one.
Yeah. And plus, I think my work has it. I'll probably be like observing them and going, psychoanalyzing them, which is, it's definitely a work hazard.
Definitely.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I was the same with when I was single, being in the fitness industry. And this is not being conceited by any means, and it'd be exactly the same, for you. So you've got to be able to, you don't give to get, but it's got to be a natural, you've got to be something there for you as well. And if it's not going to, if there's not going to be an exchange of something, because, yin and yang and black and white and all those things, it all counterbalances, but if it's too one way, it will never work. So, I used to say when I was married, he was a great earner, but I'm a great spender. Hey, well, that's a balance. No, I didn't really spend that much, but I used to just joke about it.
Yeah.
And, so it's just trying to find a happy balance. So you don't have to do the same, but, you've both got to have a strength at some point, but I also think it's got to lift the other person as well, rather than the person carrying the burden to do all the lifting at the same
Of
time.
course. Yeah. In my relationship with the one that's 17 years younger, what happened was, like, he treated me as a therapist. And I would say often, I said, I'm not your therapist. You should go to a therapist. And he said, but then what's a girlfriend for? A girlfriend is not for you to pour your stuff and burden your stuff. I don't want to listen to this. I've had days of listening to people's problem, and now you're burdening me with yours, because there was a lack of understanding of boundaries, right? So so job has it, right? So like, for you, exactly, right? That the person that you're dating has to be at least, right, some, along the healthy line, where they eat healthily, they do exercise, they do, things like that. You can't be with someone who's just sitting in front of a telly all the time.
No, oh God, I could not. But at the same time, people could be thinking, oh my God, that will never work because you'll have me running up mountains. Might run up mountains. I'll do it for a workout, but not for pleasure. So it can. I think it just it's coming along with some sort of like mutual where both of you will like something. You've got a mutual interest, and then you've got each other's strengths and weaknesses. But for myself, I was aware of. I know how great and the changes you can make, but I don't want to be someone's coach. Like, you don't want to be someone's therapist. So there's got to be an exchange. So you don't mind helping, but at the same time, well, there needs to be that transaction. There's something there. So I know with my partner, even if like there's 17 years difference, and he's overcome cancer, apart from that little time where he was overcoming, that part in his life, generally I have to chase him up a mountain. He puts his hand out to help me up.
Wow.
Also, too, sometimes I get a bit wary. I listen to some of my clients and people that I meet about, dating, and when they go out, there's a lot. It can be quite scary. Because there's open of the vulnerability, and who's to say you're meeting the right person who, who says who they are, And I know that I was very fearful of that when I was going through a divorce, because I thought, well, what happens if I meet someone? I remember saying this to a friend, what happens if I meet someone who I think is really nice, and maybe I've brought them home and I've introduced them to my children and they've turned out to be like a psycho?
Yeah, exactly.
And then the person then said to me, Lena, I think you'd pick up on something before that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to trust and listen to your gut instinct, and I thought, well, that's true. You can't be afraid, but you just have to use, listen to yourself, and then not everyone's a bad person.
Yeah, exactly. Not everyone is a bad person.
No.
We meet good people sometimes who may not be suitable for us, and that's how it is, right?
Yeah.
We meet people who we feel like we're seemingly different, but they may be suitable. So we'll never know. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's harder in our generation as well, because we knew what life was like before social media, thankfully, so we've got something to compare by. Whereas the generations that are coming through that have only ever known social media, so that's their way of thinking, and that's the way that they've been conditioned. So that's all they know, and that's fair. But I like to meet someone a bit more in the traditional way, but society would be you might not necessarily meet that person because you don't have the time to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So, what do you do? Like, if you go on the dating, and it takes a big step to, to register on a dating site and put yourself out there and start seeing, who's there. But sometimes it can be quite exciting too, because what happens if you do meet someone really nice? In exactly the same situation, who might be really tight on time,
Yeah.
themselves in the same situation as what yourself is in, and it was a big step for them.
Yeah.
So you just never know. It's not
Yeah.
always about you. That's how I came to the
Yeah.
conclusion, and that's where I listened to the different stories. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's not always just about you. There's other people in the same
Yeah.
boat as you. My client that I was just telling you about, who called me only the other day. Now he was really excited. He was more like nervous about what to wear because he didn't know.
That's sweet.
Yeah, he said, even if you see an outfit on, on the internet or anything, he said, I've got no idea about style. I just want to make an impression. Do I go like a suit blazer? I went, oh, no, I think that might be a bit over the top. Just something casual and smart.
Yeah.
But because he was excited, but he'd lost confidence as well
Yeah.
because, he'd been in a long-term relationship and, it's all new again for him.
You were talking about dating apps and the younger generation. I hear so many younger people say things like, my boyfriend this, my boyfriend that, and to only realize later on that they've never met the person. They've only communicated online. And I said, then that's not a boyfriend. But it seems to be the norm, where people have never met, they form this relationship, and it could be long distance, and they have a relationship aside. But then I said, if you never met, then how do you know that this person is what they say they are?
True.
And why do you give your heart to someone you've never met? And you become so emotionally invested, right? Where's that going to take you? It's very common. I find that
Yeah,
bizarre.
and what's the so do I. But what's the answer that they give you?
So well, we're on the phone a lot, we've been communicating, we do a lot of video calls, we've been doing this for months. I said, someone who wants to scam will invest the time. You don't know. How do you know it's not a scammer? They will put in the time and they will make things believable, and there is a lot of these scam factories going on in China, in so many places, right? And in America as well, a lot of these kind of things that happen, and you're gonna, like chat with them for 6 months, 1 year, and then one day they're gonna tell you, oh, I've got a family emergency and I don't have money. It's gonna come up, right? If you've never met them, you can't call this person your boyfriend. It's a it's a person you met online, and when you're communicating so much, you are building a story in your mind. It's not real.
That actually that brought up a memory of one of my clients. It was the mother-in-law anyway on the other side, and it was I don't know all the circumstances, but I just know that she was alone and she had a little bit of money, but she belonged to a church group, which is fine. It's nothing to do with that. But she actually met someone in the church group, and so she believed everything at on face value. And he was from overseas, so they developed a relationship over the course of I think of about 10 months. Would you believe over a period of time, it's just that she was so naive and just so gullible that, and it's happened before I found out. So this was, so she did have a history of being, I suppose, an easy prey for these men.
Yeah.
And so she would be, so it was 10 months into it, and she'd already invested like $100,000, this is Australian, into this man. And so the daughter-in-law was just really, like her daughter was very concerned about, being an easy target because she had many fallouts with her mother because of this. And really, at the end of the day, her mother just wanted connection and love.
Yeah.
And, which was really sad because she'd lost a lot of money and she got burnt quite a few times, but she could not see it.
Yeah.
And she'd had a history. I think that was the third person in her life that she'd been sort of in that sort of similar situation. And I was just being told this was the latest person. And
Wow.
that's when the daughter had to step in and just go, this is, we can't do this anymore. We can't let you just go by. And the mother was really angry and really upset because she couldn't see. She just thought, like you've got to give everyone a go. And, it's just, and she'd never met this man. Never. It was all online.
So the romance is just in the head. right? It's, I think everybody got to, really have their feet on the ground and be grounded and realize that you can't start a relationship with someone online and believe that it is a true romance. It's not like fate brought, some people buy into this idea, right? Like Cinderella story, right? Where fate brought you together, you have so many things in common. Of course, they can find out about things so easily about you online, and they know what you like, right? They can have conversations, that's going to
I think the key to that is say that you've got no money. You're broke. That you're trying, you could say that and see where that takes you. But then again, you could be interpreted, as someone, chasing after money as well. So I think at the end of the day, if you just be yourself, then that's what you can be. But unfortunately, there's a lot of situations like that go around, and because people are so short on time, they are reliant on online.
Yeah. And they're looking for love. They're looking for love,
Yeah, love, connection. Yeah, I know. It's sad, isn't it? As in, like, sad that they, not with that intention, it's sad the fact that they can be taken advantage of when they've just come from like a pure heart.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate there's a lot of bad situations out there, but some people just don't have the time,
Yeah. I wouldn't sleep with someone who's vaccinated either, because I did not vaccinate myself. Like, why would then I want to do that, right? In the end.
I know.
And so so really the pool has shrunk.
Because you can't go wanted, unvaccinated.
Yeah, it has shrunk because I think only 1% of people in Singapore are not vaccinated. So
and then like, how do you approach that? Like if you're dating, right, and that's a really big thing for you. Like, how can you screen that without it being known?
Yeah, well, I would just drop the question. How are you doing during the pandemic? What happened?
Yeah, of course, definitely. Yeah,
and you find out, and then you say, okay, this is it.
You just shot yourself in the foot. See ya.
It's a hard no for me. It's
I think it'd be interesting to see if our other listeners, their experiences, and if they can share some stories with us, because I'm sure there's some good stories there.
And we actually like to get someone in as a guest, right? Maybe talk to us about your dating experience. If someone be interested.
Yeah, I think that's great. And also, people who have experienced this, quite a few times. And because obviously we'll talk about our situation, but as we know, that's not, the be all end all. That's just our situation. Like, I'm sure there's plenty of other people out there who've had some great experiences, and, that can then offer, by sharing their experience, and they can offer other people, which in turn will have a flow-on effect, helping other people who can relate to that.
Let us know. Comment below if you want to share about your dating experiences, or share your stories below, and then we'll definitely look for someone who has been dating. It could be a man or woman, right? I would like to want to know more about the experiences.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's great. I think it's whatever sets your heart on fire. Like if you're happy by yourself, that's great. But there's also a lot of people that just maybe want companionship.
Yeah, certainly.
So you don't have to marry the person.
Yeah, you don't have to marry. Certainly not.
No, it's good. All right. Lovely to chat with you. Thanks for the laughs.
Have a good weekend.